Welcome to Maritime Pakistan, your gateway to the fascinating world of oceans and the opportunities they present to every one of us. Our goal is to explore the shared heritage of the seas and oceans to achieve global prosperity. Today's discussion explores the book The Sea in History, the Ancient World, and we're going to focus on the 9th chapter, which covers the maritime development of the Oceanian civilization. Okay, let's just dive right into this incredible story. We're talking about one of the greatest, if not the greatest, feats of human exploration in all of history. This is the story of a single people, the Austronesians, who systematically explored and settled a massive part of our world. And this wasn't just some casual trip along the coast. Not at all. This was the deliberate settlement of the largest ocean on Earth. And they did all this without any of the tools we would consider absolutely essential for navigation. I mean, no charts, no magnetic compasses, not even metal tools to build their boats. They pulled this off with technology that to us might seem almost primitive. But the results? They were anything but. And that just raises this huge, profound question. How on earth did they manage this seemingly impossible migration across what was basically a liquid desert? Well, this explainer is going to unpack the genius behind this incredible achievement. We're going to see a civilization that was literally built around mastering the sea. So let's start by just trying to grasp the sheer scale of what they accomplished. First, let's talk numbers. We are talking about a single linguistic group spreading across an almost unimaginable distance, 21,000 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's from the coast of Africa all the way to Easter Island, the most remote inhabited island on the entire planet. And look, this wasn't some random drift that happened over a couple of generations. This was a deliberate, millennia-long expansion, often against the prevailing winds and currents, which just makes it even more amazing. It all started tens of thousands of years ago and ended with them settling the absolute furthest reaches of the Pacific. So the big question is, how did they do it? Well, the first part of the answer lies in their unbelievable technology. And right at the heart of that technology was the canoe. Now, forget about simple rafts or anything like that. The key innovation, which they probably invented around 4000 BCE, was this brilliant solution to a huge problem: stability on the open ocean. By adding an outrigger, that's a float connected by arms to the main hull, they turned an unstable log into an incredibly wide, stable, and seaworthy vessel that could actually cross oceans. This design was so ridiculously effective that European explorers were just completely stunned. Back in 1742, Commodore George Anson wrote that these Oceanian canoes, called prows, were faster and way more agile than anything Europe had come up with at the time. Think about that for a second. Western sailing ships wouldn't be able to sail faster than the wind for another 200 years. And what's truly mind-boggling is how they built them. As Captain Cook himself marveled, these perfect vessels were crafted using just stone, coral, and ray skin. Incredible. So they had these amazing ships, but a world-class vessel is totally useless if you don't know where you're going, right? And that brings us to the second piece of the puzzle, their unique and really sophisticated science of navigation. See, the Oceanians didn't use instruments the way we think of them. They practiced something way more connected to the natural world, a complex, repeatable science of navigating by just observing nature itself. Their tools were literally all around them. It was like a library of information just waiting for anyone who knew how to read it. They used the sun, the stars, the subtle patterns of ocean swells bouncing off distant islands, even the flight paths of birds and the glow of plankton in the water. So the key takeaway here is that this was not guesswork. This was a rigorous, repeatable science. As the French captain Bougainville observed in the 1760s, they had a complete system for the stars and used their movements to plot a precise course out on the high seas. This really shows a profoundly different way of looking at the world. For these navigators, their map wasn't some physical object they carried around, something written on paper. No, it was a mental map, a dynamic understanding of how islands, stars, and ocean swells all related to each other, stored entirely in their memory and passed down from one generation to the next. Okay, so technology and knowledge, that answers how they did it. But it doesn't answer the most important question: why? Why undertake these dangerous voyages for centuries? Well, it wasn't about escaping a disaster. It was something at the very core of their identity. For the Oceanian people, navigating was way more than just travel. It was a sacred duty. Exploring the unknown, settling new islands, they saw that as taking part in the act of creation itself, of giving life to empty lands. The navigator hero was one of the most respected figures in their entire culture. And this wasn't some haphazard, random process. No way. The search for new lands was a systematic, almost state-sponsored project. A council of chiefs would commission an expert navigator to go scout a new direction. If they found a suitable island, they'd check out its resources, and only then would a full colonization fleet be sent. They didn't just find new lands, they literally created new worlds. So when you take this combination of advanced tech, precise science, and this deep cultural drive to explore, well, it rightly earns them the title of history's greatest navigators. When you put it all together, the picture is just crystal clear. We're looking at one of the most admirable epics in all of human history. They mastered naval architecture, they invented a whole new science of navigation, and they built an entire society around the canoe, all to achieve the systematic conquest of their ocean. So what's the final takeaway? It's that these were not primitive people just stumbling upon islands by accident. They were, as the famous circumnavigator Alain Gerbaud concluded, something far, far greater, the undisputed masters of the sea. We hope that you liked today's video. Please share your comments and subscribe to explore other similar opportunities. Post your questions in the comments section for future videos.